This podcast is brought to you by Rebecca Cassells of the Rising Dawn series. Do you like violence? Do you like smut? Are you tired of the stereotypical novels of werewolf romance out there and want something a little bit different? Then pick up Sparked Revolution, Book 1 in the Rising Dawn series by Rebecca Cassells. Available on Amazon, in Kindle, and paperback. You too can become a sponsor of Stories, The True and the Fictional by heading on over to buymeacoffee.com/STTATF or follow the link in the show notes. Hello guys and welcome to Stories, The True and the Fictional. We've got a very exciting episode for you, but first, you know the spiel. Ryan, how are we going?
Living the dream, mate. Living the dream. Absolutely excited for today's episode, and yeah, looking forward to chatting to our two guests.
That's right, two. Guys, check out our sponsors, Rebecca Cassells, Martin Kearns. They got some great books out. Rebecca Cassells for the paranormal romance, and characters modelled off Henry Cavill, of all people. Martin Kearns has a new book out called Kinda. And for my shameless plug, my wonderful book, Letters from the Emu War. Yes, Australia did declare war on emus and lost, and this is the emus telling the story. And my brand new book, Ancora, polar opposite to the Emu War. It's dark, it's gritty, it's fun. I don't know. But that's enough with the promo. Let's bring in our guests. Today we have Ethan Nicolle and Eric Branscum. Thanks for joining us.
Hello. Thanks for having
us.
It's going to be a treat.
I love Australia. Do you know that in high school, I was a poor kid. I grew up in poor, low-income housing, and we got fed by the church because we had no money. My dad was homeless, and my mom just had bad jobs. So, but I had this thing for Australia. I always wanted to go, and in my senior year of high school, I just raised the money. I just came up with the money, and I went on this trip to Australia. And it was alone. I went with like a school. I was determined. When I told my mom I was going to do it, she laughed at me. It's like I'd never been on a plane. I flew on a plane for the first time alone and went to Australia. So I would love to come back, but this is the closest I've been in a while.
That's a long flight for your first flight too.
Yeah, it was. Well, the scariest part of it was I was in Oregon. I mean, I don't know if you guys have been to the States, but they dropped me off in Portland. And then I was dropped off at LAX, one of the biggest airports, I assume, in the United States anyway, alone. I'd never been in an airport. And I could not figure out how to get to the international terminal. This didn't make any sense to me. I was from a town that didn't even have stoplights. I was from such a small town. And anyway, sorry. I'm not meaning to take your show over with my story, but it was crazy.
We're all about tangents. You'll learn that pretty quickly.
Definitely.
It's
story
probably
show. Yeah,
that's it. It'd probably be a little more hard now because it's some of the airports here are more confusing for us because they've changed the name to not what we'd call it, like Sydney. They changed it to the native Aboriginal word for the where it is, and so people walk in and they're just what is that? Like, I just want to go to Sydney.
It's just like a didgeridoo sound.
Pretty much. It's just like we get it. Like in most places, it's like here's where you are. This is what the Aboriginal people call it. But up there, and I think it's Queensland, it's just like, nah, we're just gonna get rid of the English word and good luck.
Now, if I'm in Australia and I say, wait, I can't. Can we say bad words on this show? I don't know. I don't usually.
Yeah.
But this.
Yeah.
If I just say in Australia, didgeridoo is a bullshit instrument, will I get a bad reaction, or is that like a precious thing, or it's really a glorified plumbing? It's pipe. It's just, and you just.
I mean, not to get political, but our prime minister would probably be upset about it.
Okay.
Why? What's offensive about that?
I don't know. We're a very sensitive nation down here.
Curious, yeah.
That's the instrument they got. It's throw an instrument.
Yeah,
it's literally like, think of like any instrument and all the things you add to it. You just take all that away. It's just a pipe.
Yeah.
With a little bit of painting on the side.
Yeah.
You make little noises.
I like to think it started as a joke. It's like, here, blow on this. You know?
Yeah,
Uh,
Oh man, I
I'm
love
sure it
it.
did.
well, we've gotten crazy. So let's dive into these icebreakers that we do these icebreakers every time. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, do it.
We
Mhm.
do encourage you to be selfish. So
Yes.
no Miss Universe answers.
Hmm.
We're looking for utter selfishness. So we'll go with Eric first. If you could get rid
Okay.
of one thing in the world, what would it be?
Yeah, I don't have like a real answer or a good answer. So I'm gonna go with teeth because I
Teeth.
think that would be funny. Like if they were to all just disappear at once and the reaction that would cause, I'd like to see that. So that's my answer.
You can't take it back though. That's man. No
Yeah,
teeth.
no, they're gone. That's it. It's just no
No,
more.
no.
No more.
Ethan will say, bring back teeth, and they'll,
Yeah.
cancel each other out.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But I really want to see that as a sketch now.
Yeah, just yeah, it's like the Snap and Avengers, but with
Yeah.
teeth.
I like that. I like that.
Oh,
That reminds me of an axe cop when he just wished he prayed to God that everyone in the world would poop their pants just as a joke, just because he thought it'd be funny. And God does what axe cop says.
Yeah, I promise we will get into that. All right. How about you, Ethan? What are you getting rid of?
If we're gonna be selfish, this is not gonna win me any fans, which I'm here trying to get people to check out our Kickstarter, but I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
I have a dog, and I haven't killed it. I'm probably not gonna. I have two dogs, one that I love and one that I despise. Like my kids picked it out against my will. I looked at it the moment I saw it. I said, "This is not a good dog. We will not like this dog." But they brought it home. It's gotten worse and worse. And it has this weird hacking noise that it makes, which the veterinarians claim is just part of its genetics. It just constantly goes. It does like four of them, and the last one it goes, makes the most disgusting noise. And it just chases you around and makes that sound like when it's excited and thinks you're gonna like love it. It makes this horrible sound. So I would get rid of that dog.
The dog.
If I could just
Why
go
not?
"Boop," and it's gone, yeah.
Why not just get rid of that sound?
Yeah, there you go.
I still hate that dog. I still don't like the dog.
Okay, yeah.
Is it
I don't
the
like-
teeth? Is it the teeth?
The sound
that
would
cause
help.
the sound?
It's just one of those. No, it has like a weird. It's some mix of like Shih Tzu and some puggy kind of like
Yeah.
thing, and it's just they have some weird thing where they just when they get excited, and it just gets worse and worse as it goes on. We've taken it to the vet like 3 times about it, and they're just like, no, it's just normal. Try to just live with it and don't kill
Normal. And don't get rid of it with an icebreaker question.
Yeah, love it. Yeah.
It's the doctor's orders.
And now everybody in the house hates it except for my wife. Now that's it. She's the only one who still can stand it.
Give it time. Give it time.
Yeah.
Give it time. Oh wow! All right. Well, question number 2. We'll start with you on this one, Ethan. What's something that's on your bucket list?
I've always wanted to come up with do stand-up comedy. Like I've done like 2 open mics. No, one. Just once. I did it once. The one time I tried to do it, I had this whole joke about how I peed the bed growing up, and like it was supposed to get to this really funny part of the story about like this machine that my parents got me that it like buzzed and would wake me up buzzing in the night if it got wet, and this whole crazy thing that happened. My friend was playing with it, and I had to lie about what it was. Well, I got like through this whole thing where I just basically explained that I had peed the bed all the way up to high school, and then my minute was up, and there was no laughs. It was just me confessing to a room full of strangers that I peed the bed like a lot, like way worse than a lot of guys. And so I want to do better than that, but I would love to like have like a solid like I don't need like an hour, like a 15-minute. I would like to get to where I could do like a good 15 minutes. I'm fascinated by it. I have a giant document full of jokes, but none of them are funny. I'm making you guys laugh. See? So, I don't know.
Yeah, 100%.
It doesn't take much to make us laugh.
No.
I have to tour Australia.
Yeah.
Specifically, wherever you guys are right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Sydney, pretty much.
Sydney, yeah, we'll take Sydney.
I'm Blue Mountains, where everything will kill you. He's more suburbia.
Okay.
Suburbia,
Okay.
yeah. I'm more in Western Sydney, just close to everything, so I can't complain. But yeah, everything will still kill you out here. It's just more frequent up where Jamie lives, so that's how it works. But okay, well, that's an awesome answer, Ethan. I love that. And what about you, Eric? What would your on your bucket list?
So I don't have one, so I'm gonna have another somewhat, yeah, teeth, yeah. I'm gonna say I would like at some point to own something that makes people worried. Like, you know how like Nicolas Cage owns like a dinosaur bones, and like and people are like, what? Like, is he okay? Like, I want to own something like that. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what that object is, but I want to buy something that makes people go like, is he all right? Like, is he doing okay? Like, I want that level of status, you know, like whether it's from money or I acquired it somewhere. I want that someday.
Yeah, something that's barely alive, but it's, I don't know. Yeah, I'm just thinking.
Well, if you want to relate it to teeth, you can have a dentist drill or something.
Oh yeah, well, weirder than that. It's got to really be like
left field.
He shouldn't own that, like that sort of a vibe.
Cool. Well,
I like that. I like that.
We'll see if we can figure one out by the end of the episode.
Yeah. If you guys think of what that thing is, let me know, and I'll pursue
it. Yeah. All right. This is a bit of a big one. What is your Mount Rushmore of TV shows? Like, pick 4 shows that are completely stand out. Let's go back to Eric, or whoever can think of one first.
I got my 4 locked and loaded. I could also
I'm sure they're locked and loaded.
I could come up with 2 or 3 more for Mount Rushmores of TV shows, but I only get 4, I'm going to say The Simpsons, The Sopranos, The Larry Sanders Show, and Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. Those 4 shows, I think, they're 4 of my favorite shows of all time. I think they're perfect. I wouldn't change a thing about it. And when I say The Simpsons, I mean the only Simpsons that exists, which is seasons 1 through 8, and that's it.
I was going to say 1 to 10 because I like the first 10, and I give him a pass on the MacGyver episode. I loved when he was on. I think it was season 18, and he's just kidnapped by Patty and Selma. Yeah,
I haven't seen any posts. I think I've seen through 9. I don't even know if I've seen 10, but it's after that it is dead to me.
Well, it was a very clever episode because Patty and Selma kidnapped MacGyver from a Stargate convention, and he escapes and then comes back. They go, "Why'd you come back?" "To tell you how I escaped." You know, and then it's pretty funny.
And I can definitely get on board with The Sopranos. That's my favorite TV show of all time. I watch it at least once a year. Me and my wife, we both watch it. We both love it. We just finished it a couple of weeks ago, actually. So yeah, that belongs in the Hall of Fame of TV shows for sure.
I think it's one of those shows or like one of those works of, like, I would put, like, I say this about Silence of the Lambs, the movie, where it's like, despite all its praise and its accolades and how well regarded it is, it might be underrated. Like, it's like The Sopranos is so good that even though everyone rightly calls it the best show of all time, like, it's still maybe underrated, like, because it's so incredible. Yeah, I love it.
Oh, definitely. And I, like, every time we watch it, I appreciate the ending, and my wife hates it. She's like, "You've got to be kidding me. What happened?" I said that you know, there's a lot of different things in that ending, and I like how David Chase has left it open to our interpretation to work out exactly what happened. So yeah, for sure, that'll be on my Mount Rushmore, 100%.
Have you figured yours out yet, Ethan?
I figured that. Well, you know what I did figure out? I think like a preserved sack of Hitler's hemorrhoid blood. That could be the thing that Eric owned, and everybody be worried about that.
Oh, sure. I thought you were talking about your TV show. Like, I haven't seen that show.
I mean, anything that belonged to Hitler, everybody's like, "Why are you holding on to that?" And then add to it that it's a sack of hemorrhoid blood.
Didn't someone run off with his toilet seat, or is that like a
probably? Yeah.
Oh, see, I'd rather have that. I'd like that. Like, why not?
Apparently, I heard somewhere that someone ran off with his toilet seat after they raided the.
All right. Well,
Eric thinks about this stuff way more than I do. He's like a cinephile, you know, like one of those. He has like Criterion collections all over the place. Like, like he can't. He's stepping over, like he's stepping over them as he cooks in his kitchen because they're everywhere.
And barely an exaggeration.
Yeah.
Yep. Like at night, he's reading his children like the fold-out booklets that come with his Criterion collections
The
for bedtime
essays, yeah.
stories, or the latest David Lynch Criterion collection thing.
Yeah.
Whatever. I keep saying that. So I just picked four that come to mind that I know I love and that also aren't super obvious because like I figured not to be mean, but I figured Sopranos and Simpsons would get picked, so I didn't want to pick those. And Sopranos is amazing. So I'm a huge fan of Nathan Fielder. I would say Nathan For You. It's hard for me to pick between Nathan For You and The Rehearsal, but just because Nathan For You is first, and I think it's overall funnier. I think there's a level of genius deeper in The Rehearsal, but I love Nathan For You. No? Yes? You guys seen it? No?
Oh,
Yeah.
I haven't.
one of the greatest of all
Me
time.
and Eric, me and Eric talk about it all the time. We never talked about the finale of The Rehearsal.
Yeah, we got to talk about that.
We got to talk about that. So I have sort of a weird, like, I don't know why I love this show so much, but it's like a comfort show. I've watched it multiple times, and it might just be that I never got into these cop shows, and this is the one that got me. It's Bosch on Amazon.
Bosch? All right, yeah.
But I watch Bosch, and it's funny to me because it's so subdued. Like everybody, like something really dramatic can happen. All the acting is kind of the same, subdued. Like everybody's just kind of like, oh, Mark died, and then they're like, oh, someone got murdered. Like they just have a real. I kind of like the calm of it. Like it's not pushing it. It's not over the top. I don't know. There's something about it. It's kind of like my comfort show. The show that blew me away, The Shield.
Yeah,
was
love The
an
Shield.
amazing ride. So good. Highly recommend.
Yep.
I think that I watched that because Eric once said he was going to buy the Criterion collection of The Shield. I believe I heard him say that, and then I saw the thumbnail. I was like, that might be good if they're getting a Criterion.
There's a half truth. I think I sort of said like I think I heard oh, I hear it's great and I gotta watch it. And then I still haven't. I got to get into that.
No, I swear he said something about it's coming out, or he said, "Oh my god," he said something about how you're gonna. I don't know, whatever. And then the other one I put down is even though I would consider Seinfeld one of the greatest comedies of all time, I picked Curb Your Enthusiasm because I think it's more.
Yeah,
I agree.
Just
Curb over Seinfeld.
Genuine. Yeah, Curb is just awesome. Even though the last season wasn't my favorite, it was overall. I love that show. That's another one I could watch over and over.
Yeah. Definitely. Larry David and there are situations in real life when I do something and I just hear that music, the boom boom boom.
Yep.
It's just I just feel like it's a Larry David moment. Half the time in my life. So I definitely can get behind that. And The Shield is one of, if not the best cop show ever.
Yeah.
I've again, that's another show.
And that's one of the ones. Like Sopranos, it like lands the ending, like it's like like
no
you're
spoilers.
Just sitting there. Like I had to just go on YouTube and watch everything I could find about just people talking about the Shield, and like it couldn't be over. I knew it was over, and I was like, and it wasn't like it landed it, and I was just like, yeah, man, it's good.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think both those Mount Rushmores I can agree with completely. So 100% on board with that. Okay, question number 4. And we'll start with you, Ethan. What is your zombie apocalypse plan?
I would find the best cigar shop in the area, and then I'd camp out in there and board it all up. And and I'd try to make sure it's close to a really good wing shop because I like hot wings and I like cigars. And then I would just try to board it up as good as I could, find whatever weapons I could, and just like enjoy cigars and hot wings. This is assuming my family's dead. If I'm all alone, I didn't even think about the fact that I might protect my family. If I had my family, I'd pretend that was the only option. I'd pretend like I've checked it out. The safest place is definitely going to be Marty's cigar right here. It's right next to it. Happens to be right next to his wing place.
That's like your version of what is it? Shaun of the Dead.
Right.
Like
they're in their pub, their favorite pub.
We're just gonna get to the cigar shop and wait for it to blow over.
I love it. Excellent. What about yourself, Eric? What's your zombie apocalypse plan?
So when I saw that question, because it made me think about, I grew up loving like the George Romero zombie movies, Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. Like,
Yeah.
and me and my friends, we would watch them and we would talk all the time about what we would do in the zombie apocalypse. And it's like we know all the rules, all this stuff. And I remember also saw, this is like back in like high school, it was like a documentary on like 70s horror, like that wave of horror movies coming out in the 70s. And it was very serious and talking about like all the themes and like how all these filmmakers were taking horror seriously. And when they talk about Dawn of the Dead, there's some commentator, like some college professor, who's like pinpoints the scene early on when the main characters are in the helicopter and they're trying to find, like, they haven't found the mall yet, they're trying to find where to go, and they pass over this like field that's like full of, like, for lack of a better term, like rednecks with like guns, and they're all just drinking beer and they're just shooting zombies, and it's like they're portrayed as like a bunch of yokels or whatever. And the commentator is like, "Oh, what a biting satire of America." Right. And I heard that and I was like, "Oh, I always saw that scene. I was like, what a utopia. Like, just hanging out with your buds, drinking beer, shooting zombies. Like,
Exactly.
that sounds like the best." So mine's not that different from Ethan's. I would just gather up my buds, like, "Hey, let's get a 6-pack, get some guns, go shoot some zombies." Like, it sounds like a good time. So that's what I would do in the zombie apocalypse.
I like it. I like it. Okay.
I just assume zombies. I always think about that. Zombies. I don't think they'd be as scary as or hard to kill as they are in the movies. Like, it's like it'd be like if it really is basically if I hate to say this, I'm not in front. Like, if all the mentally handicapped people decided to rise up, right? That's basically what zombie apocalypse is. It wouldn't be that. It'd be scary, but not that threatening. Like, we could take care of it.
Yeah.
Well,
You just plan ahead.
I guess
you get.
it'd also be highly contagious, though, which it's not. So I guess that.
And I was going to say, unless you get those 28 days later zombies, they're super fast
Right.
and they throw
That's
you
different.
Yeah, that's
through
cheating.
windows and stuff like that. But yeah,
That doesn't add up.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, and
But if
28 days later, they are infected. They're not zombies.
Yeah.
They are infected
Rage.
with rage.
Yeah.
With rage. They clarify that right away.
So basically,
There
they
you
were
go.
on Twitter all night, doom scrolling.
Yeah. That actually is what they do. It shows the monkeys being fed like terrible news in the beginning of the movie.
Oh, is
Like,
that what they're
is sort
doing?
of like, yeah. Like
Oh, that's funny.
I love it. I love it.
All right, the final icebreaker question is: so Bill and Ted rock up outside your house in their telephone booth time machine and say, "Oh, I'll save the accent, but whoa, dude."
I want to hear
All right, channeling my Keanu. Whoa, dude! Rufus asked us to give you a free ride in our phone booth time machine. Where do you want to go?
I swear, people with like British-ish accents can do American accents better than the other way around. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard going the other way.
but I will tell them that the slightest change, if you go back in time, the slightest change, the smallest thing could affect the course of history. So I would politely decline and say, I don't want that responsibility. I don't want to come back and all of a sudden everybody, I don't know, looks weird or talks different. I don't want that responsibility. So
but
pass.
But even if it's the Bill and Ted time, you know,
I'd say they have a history report to finish, so they better go.
Okay. All right.
Get a move on.
I'm just a G.K. Chesterton fanboy, which I know is super nerdy, but I love. I have a podcast, Chesterton's Gateway, where we read Chesterton every week. So, and I'm fascinated by the guy. I've read a lot of his writing over and over again. So, I would just go and meet him and be his stalker, and he'd probably hate me, but I would just be like trying to hang out with him and have fish and chips and whatnot, beer, and trying to get him to smoke cigars with me all the time. Like, I don't know.
Would you get him back to go on your podcast? Bring him back?
Yeah, get him to come back. Yeah.
Can he reenact that? Because I saw a bit of it, and you had him doing like a DJ.
Right.
Dance thing. Reenact that.
The Chesterton rave. Yeah. It'd be interesting to see what he thought of our whole
I'm sure we all
AI music. Yeah.
Sure, love it.
What the bullocks is this?
Oh, I love it.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, gentlemen, you've passed the icebreakers. So now we can
Perfect.
move on to the fun stuff.
This podcast is brought to you by Martin Kearns and the Valor of Valhalla series. In the battle between two ancient evils, can one naive young man become the last hope against powerful creatures of legend? Beneath the Veil is the gripping first book in the Valor of Valhalla dark urban fantasy series. If you like reluctant heroes, infernal myths, and bloody epic clashes, then you'll love Martin Kearns' formidable foray into the unknown. So head on over to readkearns.com and grab yourself a copy of Beneath the Veil today.
But let's start at the beginning, because you're both very creative, and you obviously came on a journey to get to this point where you're going to do this Kickstarter, which we're going to talk about. But let's start at the beginning, like creativity. Like, where did it start for you? Whoever wants to go first.
I grew up in a very artistic family. My grandfather was a illustrator in like the military. I just got a bunch of his drawings. I didn't realize how actually good he was. We had a few of his paintings, but he's actually an amazing like pen and ink and brush, classic sort of, Preston Blair style, like an amazing artist. But so he was teaching me a bit like the basics of drawing before I have memories of learning them. So, and he was giving me these great old from the 50s books and animation and stuff. So creativity and just the love of making stuff has been with me since as far back as I can remember. And as far back as I can remember, I wanted to make cartoons, animation, stuff for kids, and comics. Is that like what you were asking?
Yeah, pretty much. It's we're
Did I go too far back? I was
too far back. No, it's, we're free for all on this. You can say what you want. Yeah. What's your journey been like, Eric?
I mean, in terms of, like finding a creative path, I would say, I think, like all kids my age, I grew up watching, like just loving movies, like watching Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Star Wars, Back to the Future, the stuff that everybody watches. But I feel like it was around middle school. I don't even know what exactly, it might have been something like Big Lebowski or something like that. A movie that not only like opened my eyes to what a movie could be, but also made me realize what filmmaking is, especially then discovering like the Coen brothers and then seeing something else of theirs and being like, oh, this is a different movie, but I can see their voice. Or, and then that sort of became like, I became obsessed with movies and filmmakers and discovering, and that it really was like a snowball effect where I couldn't get enough. And I would go, if I couldn't get to Blockbuster, I would be at the downtown library, just grabbing VHSs and DVDs of anything I could find. And just like one movie would lead to somebody else. And it was like this net of just obsession of movies. And so then, it's like once it sort of, you hit that age of like, what do I want to do with my life? I was sort of like, do I want to pursue this? And so, for me, it was just a love of movies and wanted to pursue something like in that realm.
Awesome. Now, I want to talk about Axop because I love it so much. Tell us about that, because it's such a unique idea. Because I remember being a kid and playing in the backyard, and because I know a little bit about it. But for those who may not know, just give them a little bit of background on Axop, how it came to be.
Yeah, it was around Christmas time. I was visiting my family. I had just moved to Hollywood about a year earlier and was kind of struggling. The idea I had been working on, I had a show option, so I thought, oh, I got a show option. I'm in. I've broken into and then it kind of just fizzled at Cartoon Network. The two jobs I had at the time, I had a job working for Disney, just drawing pictures for their like how to speak English books, like a really like not fun work. And then animating math problems. Both of them laid me off in the same week. So I was just in this weird down place, and I'd been working so hard to try to make my next like movie, Save the Cat, graphic novel, and I just So I was at my house, and my little brother, who's 5, and I was 24. So it's a whole story there. But he kept asking me if I wanted to play Axe Cop. And he had gotten this toy axe from like a day at the firefighters. You go to the firefighters, they feed you spaghetti, let you hit the horn on the truck or whatever, and they give you a plastic axe and a hat. Well, he had that, and think he wanted to play cops, but he didn't have his toy gun or whatever, and so
Yeah.
I think he just assumed that that's what a cop is if they have an axe or an axe cop. And I loved that, and I kept thinking of this character every time he said it. Just this image flashed in my head that I really wanted to draw. And it was weird because I had this guilt. Like I had been trying to, I had moved to Hollywood to try to do things by this structure, and when I almost felt like I had told myself I'm going to take a break from my drawing. I'm just going to take a break because I'm wearing myself out. I was burnt out, but it kind of took me to this thing where I drew these comics. I drew the X-Pro comics really thinking about the way I felt in study hall in high school. I would do these comics where I knew that they're an inside joke that only me and my buddies would get, and my buddies had study hall right after me, so I would draw this comic, really ridiculously morbid, bizarre comic, and I'd hand it to them as they came in the next period to their study hall, and they'd laugh and pass it around, and so that's how it felt when I made that first page of Axe Cop. I assumed no one else would think it was funny as we did because it was just between me and my brother, and I just thought it was funny. In the kind of the first 4 or 5, I figured it was the same as showing someone a picture of your kids in your wallet. Like, it's cool, they're cute, but like, I'm way more excited about my kids than other people are. And I figured I way more excited about my brother. So I was really shocked. And the only reason we put Axe Cop online is because like I knew I thought it was funny. I had tears in my eyes laughing at it in the night. I was drawing it in the middle of the night because I'm kind of a night owl, and just having a blast. And I had also been working on a web comic called Bearmageddon at the time, and that was my big next thing I wanted to launch, and it was going to be my first web comic. I had this theory that web comics were kind of the new indie comics. People weren't going to comic book shops to get indie comics; they were now looking online. And I had always been an indie comic guy, so I wasn't into web comics, but I didn't know what else to do. So I was like, what if I create a test website where I kind of throw some comics up and make sure it functions? Like I'll just tell my friends and what small fan base I have right now, because at that point I was an Eisner-nominated comic artist through a book called Chumble Spuzz at SLG. So we threw Axe Cop together. Me and my buddy who used to be in a rock band with me, we made websites together all the time. So we threw together Axe Cop. We made this really bad Flash interface that we thought maybe was cool, like where like your mouse hovers over the comic and like it kind of follows your mouse around.
Yeah.
People hated that, but the amount that people hate Flash, I've still never really understood. But people hated Flash. So anyway, we threw that site up, and this is another thing: websites don't go viral. Like posts on Facebook go viral. Like websites don't go viral. But and it's funny because I have the screenshot. I shared it on Facebook, and it got like something like 11 likes or something, and a few people replied. And then a few days later, I don't know who shared it where. It might have been like Reddit or one of these sites I don't understand. But it was during the State of the Union address. It went completely viral, and it was the craziest thing I ever experienced. It was just this whirlwind. Like it felt like if you're watching TV and the people look up, notice that you're watching it, and they start talking to you. Like all these people on Twitter that I followed as a fan suddenly are talking about me or DMing me, or people. I'm getting messages from all the publishers I've always wanted to get their attention from, and like just random stuff. Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20 mentions Axe Cop.
Wow.
Just weird stuff like that's happening. Simon Pegg, just all the Mystery Science Theater guys who I was a huge fan of, like, I found Kevin Murphy bought my shirt, like he's Tom Servo, like he bought a shirt from my little store I just threw together because we couldn't even afford, we crashed the site we had instantly. We had to get a new website, a new our host or whatever, because the company couldn't handle the traffic we were getting, and I was broke. We didn't have the money, so my buddy fronted me the money. And we put up a store of mock-up fake T-shirts and stuff, and started selling them, hoping it would pay for the website. It was just an adventure, and ended up making 6 volumes on Dark Horse Comics, kind of from my brother being 5 to about 9 or 10. So it was like about maybe even less. It might have been 8 or 9. It was like 3 or 4 years that we just kind of went gung ho. Probably more like a solid 3. And then we got a TV show. Ended up being a TV show on Fox. They were. Anyway, so that's kind of the main story. Eric was there the whole time. I'd kind of report back to him, and
Oh.
we'd have cigars, and I'd be like, "Man, today is crazy."
I remember I came to that house that you were staying in, that tiny room, and the day it happened. Like I remember I went and
Oh,
we
you were
sat
there,
on
really?
that back patio. It was just me and you on your back patio. I think we had like a drink or something, and it was. I
Huh.
remember we just were sitting there, just like, whoa, this is like,
I
because
forgot
it's
about
like
that.
in our whole friend group, we were all just
Yeah,
dumb 20 somethings. Just nobody's like, oh, I hope I get to do something someday, and then like that
Yeah.
happened, and it was truly like it was. Yeah, and I remember sitting there
Yeah.
on your patio, just being like, holy crap, like, this is
Yeah.
crazy. Like,
It was wild.
yeah, it was wild.
And we were all kind of like Doug TenNapel fanboys. I don't know if you guys know Earthworm
Yeah, I know.
Jim,
I love
Doug
Doug
TenNapel, but we'd hang out. We both kind of came. That's how we got to know each other. We were both
Hmm.
sort of like mentored by him. And we
Yeah.
both moved to Hollywood. Eric came from Ohio. I came from Oregon, because we like states that start with O, and got just to get. Doug had encouraged us to do it, and I think that we kind of became two of the people that Doug took us under his wing a lot, and we were on his forums, and we had always been kind of seeking his advice and had a lot of respect for what he did, and so he's become one of our best friends, and he's involved in the project we're working on, as well as a bunch of other people. So
Awesome. So just briefly on with the TV show or the show that the Axe Cop show, did you have much control in that, or was it like you kind of did you do any writing for it, or were they just like we'll take it from here?
I was in the writers' room for probably 70% of the episodes, maybe 60. And it partially, I was getting married at the time, but also they just got too busy to invite me, like, to remember to invite me. Like they just forgot. I don't take it personally. I think they were doing everything under one roof, writing all those ADHD block. It's a
Yeah.
block of programming called ADHD. It's the same writers writing all the shows, same animators animating everything. Everything was under one roof, and to like stop things up to call a guy who lives in Rancho Cucamonga, which is about an hour away, way more, or it's like 2.5 hours in traffic,
Yeah.
to come out and like give his input. They didn't, I think it just once things got going and deadlines were
Yeah.
hitting, I think that was a lot harder. But
Yeah.
when we hit that point where it was like, okay, we're right in the next season. Like I was there for that. I got a lot of my ideas did make it in. A lot of my lines, a lot of the Axe Cop lines came from just I'd kind of gained the ability to kind of channel Axe Cop. And yeah, some of my concepts, it's funny. The very last episode was the first time I wrote a full script. It was like my script. It was the last one that they put out, the baboons rising one. But yeah, like the party in the middle of the ocean, that was a concept that I came up with. And we called Malachi a couple times. We got his input. I think of what was a good example of that. We called him once and got like a few times he gave us the whole ending. And that the turkey episode, if you guys remember that one, that was one of the only episodes where it was made up whole cloth, like it wasn't from the comics, and the writers' room had actually come up with it. I wasn't even there for that. I liked it though. It's like it kind of fit. It was interesting. They used some stuff from our Halloween comics, some little things for Axe Cop dressing as a wolvie and all this stuff. But they messaged me and asked, like, how would you draw a character named Turkey, who's a Thanksgiving turkey, who's angry that Halloween gets more love than Thanksgiving? So I drew this turkey, and I was kind of amazed. Like I just drew it, and they literally, like, I'm pretty sure they just scanned it in and like colored it and animated my drawing. It looked exactly like my drawing, but they didn't. They also were stumped on the ending. They just didn't know what to do at the end. So they got me to call Malachi. And Malachi just goes in this thing about there's a guy named Season Man, and we're like, where does Season Man come from? And Axe Cop dreams of him. And you're like, well, how does that work? And whatever Axe Cop dreams comes true. So then he has quintuplets and something about how he uses all the seasons to fight, and then something out. It's in the show.
Yeah.
It's completely out of left field, but somehow it works. And he dies, and Axe Cop promises that his quintuplets will be taken care of. It's very weird.
I love it.
Whatever it is, I'm getting the
Oh,
details
that's
wrong,
awesome.
but
And just lastly on that, did you have a say in the cast or that, or did you did they throw that together, like voice cast and all that?
I was just constantly surprised because I didn't even know that these guys are options. Like I didn't know I could suggest. Well, I mean, okay, so it's not totally true. Off the bat, so before the show got made, three comedians had contacted me who loved Axe Cop and wanted to work with me. And it was first one of the three was, I think it was Peter Serafinowicz was first, who ended up playing like the Tick, and he's in John Wick and stuff. I
wow.
love Peter. And then Ken Marino, he's in like Party Down and a bunch of stuff like that. But
The State.
And then the State, and then Nick Offerman. So I had met with all of them in some one way or another. Peter's in England, so that was a Skype meeting. But I actually got to go lunch with Nick Offerman, and that was wild. But so they all wanted to do something with me, and then it kind of became this thing. Like I think they all wanted to play Axe Cop, but then when Nick stepped in, they're like, okay, fine. We all know Nick's gonna get to be Axe Cop. But so that was like off the bat, kind of the set thing. Like at the first day where we all met at this house in Los Feliz, which is near LA. It's this old house that used to be owned by, I think, Frank Zappa. It had a recording studio in it, and they had basically turned it into a kind of a preliminary studio, like to do all their pre stuff before they get the full animation team in. And they rent a different studio. Like they turned a house illegally into like a full on office. They had the master bathroom was the executive producer's office. There's a toilet in there, but it was cool. Like this whole house was just the big meeting room, or the big, maybe it's a master bedroom upstairs, had been turned into the writer's room, and it was really cool. But it happened to be so Nick Offerman came to that very first day meeting. Ken Marino came to that very first day meeting. And then it's random. We're taking our lunch break, and I walk out I open the front door, and Nick Offerman's staring up above the door, like with that pensive stare that he has. Like, what are you doing? What's going on? And he's like, I'm considering if I could scale the site of this house. And then he goes, do you think that Patton Oswalt would want to do a voice, or what did he say? Like, do you think I should ask Patton Oswalt if he'd like to be on the show? I'm like, is that an option? And he goes, he lives right there. He's right there. And like Patton Oswalt was walking by in his like gym clothes on a jog. So he came in, and he's like, hey, however he talks. This is great. You guys doing Hot Cop. Yeah. I can't do it. I can't do him. But yeah, so off the bat we had Offerman, Ken Marino, and Patton Oswalt. But then it just became like the shows of the time. I was amazed, like all the Breaking Bad voices we got and stuff. I mean, that was my favorite episode. I think is the one with Mike from Breaking Bad, Jonathan Banks. And the funniest part about that one, just a quick tidbit on that one, because in that he plays the Axe Cop's great grandfather from the American Revolution, and he has a wife. And the whole because this is like the logic of Axe Cop, because if we're going to tell a story of 4th of July, we have to go back to an ancestor. The thing that my brother didn't like was that logically that ancestor had to have a wife, because the only way Axe Cop could exist is if he had a wife, because he never wanted there to be wives or girls or anything. So he's just like, fine, she's like a girl. I'm like, but like, does she have a name? Like, no, nobody knows her name. It's a mystery. I'm like, why? She can't talk. Nobody knows she just can't talk. He just wanted to move on. She just exists. So in the show, we would write lines for Axe Cop to talk to the wife, and the wife can't talk. So and we didn't know what would play the funniest. So we did what are called in writing alts, where you put a bunch of backslashes and you just give all these different possible lines that he could say. And I guess Jonathan Banks, maybe he hadn't worked with alts in the past or whatever it was. He just read them back to back with no space in between. He just rattled them all off one after the other. And it played so much funnier than we had intended. To me, it's so funny. Because he's just staring at him, and he's just like, I'm going off to fight the war. I'm going to fight the war. I'm going to fight the British. I'll be back. And he just finishes off with, I love you. I don't know.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I was looking at when we were, because I'm a massive comic book nerd, so I was definitely familiar with Axe Cop when it came out. I've read quite a bit of it, and
Nice.
I think it was a couple of years ago. Jamie told me, hey, they've made a show, and I started watching it. I couldn't believe when I heard Nick Offerman's voice,
Yeah.
and just like, you've got people like Clancy Brown, like as you said, like
Right. Yeah.
you got Ben Mendelsohn as well.
Yeah. That was when
And
he only they did like what killing them softly like he's doing that character from that. Yeah.
but
Wild.
I think it's so it's and for to find out that people like Nick Offerman and Ken Marino were reaching out to you saying, hey, I need to be a part of this project, this TV project. I need to do this. That must have been an amazing feeling.
Yeah, it was wild, and I think with Nick, it was a kind of a similar interesting thing where I wasn't really into Parks and Rec at the time, but I
Yep.
was having so many people at conventions coming up to me going like, "Oh man, Nick Offerman has to play this guy," and I was like, "Who's that?" Like, that's Ron. You don't know Ron Swanson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then he was having the same thing where all these people were saying, "You got to do Axe. Have you seen Axe Cop? You look just like Axe Cop." So, like, we were brought together by our two fan bases.
That's
Yeah.
I
amazing.
love that.
All right, let's segue into because I grew up on VeggieTales. I'm sure you grew up on VeggieTales, and I noticed that you both worked on VeggieTales, the Netflix version.
We lived and breathed and cried VeggieTales for 3 years.
Yeah. No, my earliest memory is the cheeseburger song. But with
Well, it's funny you say
You remember that
say that we probably grew up with VeggieTales. We did not.
Really?
When Ethan and I when we started working on that show, we were all like,
What's this?
like,
Yeah.
Well, because that was going to be one of my questions. Like, because would it have been like fanfic when you get asked to do something that's but
Yeah, it's weird. I mean,
yeah.
I'll let you answer, Eric. I've been talking a lot because of Axe Cop.
I mean, like having not, because we didn't like no one we did not grow up on VeggieTales, and so when we came in, it was sort of like there was the show was barely formed. Like it was just like they're going to be in this world, and it's going to be like a sitcom, and it's just going to be silly. And so I think our mindset going in was like, well, let's just make a fun show.
We just want
the
to make
characters
a really
are
funny, wacky cartoon. Was that?
we'll take the character prototypes, we'll keep it, we'll keep the faith element, we'll make it silly and whatever. And I think we quickly realized how possessive people are of VeggieTales and how they want to preserve exactly the feeling they had when they were 5 watching it for the first time. And so that became very, very tricky to navigate because our show was not going to be that. Our show just from the outset was not going to be what VeggieTales used to be for all sorts of reasons. And then, like it was like I understand like you don't want to you want to be respectful of a thing when you're rebooting it and whatever, but like the controversy of just giving the characters eyebrows, like that alone is like, oh, we have to be very careful. And then we weren't careful and made a lot of people very angry. Like,
it's like the Superman argument with the trunks and no trunks, like everyone's in panic mode. But because it was Netflix, did you have to be very diverse with your vegetables?
We have a story about that.
But it's actually not what you think. It's the other way. Like it's actually like I don't
what?
Yeah.
Are we thinking of the same story when like we were in that meeting and I don't know if like there's a big exec basically goes like they had just gotten the lineup of the VeggieTales characters designed by Ellie and Oli Sabalos, who are this amazing. Were they like 18 when they did this? They're like this
at the time, they left college,
identical twins, and they finish each other's drawings, and they sit there and draw all day, and they're these amazing artists. They did the redesigns. They're the most humble, talented, kind, homeschooled Midwest girls. Like they're so nice. I felt so bad when they're just people were just railing against the designs on the internet, like they were like a rewriting of the Bible or something. But so these drawings of the new designs were out, and generally we're just kind of quiet and going, oh, these are great, they look good, and then all of a sudden with this exec, I won't name names, goes, I'm seeing, when I look at these, I just see a lineup of white people. So then there's a guy
it's like the characters are green and red and purple
green and red,
like, so
different, they're vegetables and fruit, like they're two different whatever that is, categories. I don't know that.
But it's white bread and green bread
and a piece of bacon. We have a piece of we threw a piece of bacon in, so that's like really diverse. That was Doug Tleeple. He's the showrunner. So But yeah, so that was to me the funniest. And then the funniest thing to me was that his solution he proposed was maybe we could throw a sombrero on one or an afro,
Sorry.
and it was sincere.
Yeah,
It
sincere.
was like a
Well,
parody.
it was,
That was like a parody of
well,
Hollywood.
it was dismissive of just sort of like, just do that. Like it wasn't. It was
Yeah.
sincere, but it was just sort of
Yeah.
like, who cares? Just do that. Like,
Mm.
which is crazy.
It felt like they were saying it because someone had to say it just to acknowledge
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was weird though.
All right. Let's get into what we're supposed to be talking about, and that's your new explosive book. Or
Yes.
thing. Just, I guess, straight off the bat, just give it a plug. Tell us what it is, and we can open up
All right.
the pages.
Eric's the better pitch man than me, so I'm gonna let Eric go start.
So like so we want it to
Nope.
be so much, but it's hopefully very simple. Like it's a kids book subscription that we're describing it as we're taking like the whole kids section of your local bookstore and condensing it into one book. So it's, it'll have ongoing chapter books, picture books, comic books, gag pages, interactivity, but it's all going to be in one book that's delivered straight to your door. So hopefully it removes the, like, I don't know what to get my kid when you go try to find a new book. Like, hopefully it gives a wide variety all in one package. Like, we really want to make it this, what feels like this explosive, crazy creativity thing in a simple, easy to buy package is basically the idea. And then
subscription.
As a subscription. So it's going to keep coming to you. And but then it's also like, I think two things that are also very unique to it is one, this interactive element where, like we have things where it's like a kid can design a character or even finish a story and submit it, and we might put it in a book. And so it's like I would keep saying, like, my kids get excited when they see themselves on the security checkout camera at Target. And so it's like for a kid to open a book and see their name and see their story printed, I think that's just going to be such a thrill. But then we also want to sort of gather this really cool collection of different creators, of different creative people that we know or are meeting through this, that we can just sort of like create, I don't know, like a gang or a team of just really awesome, family-friendly people that just want to make cool stuff and get it in front of kids. So it's, it's like we want it to feel like a lot, but also in a very simple package.
Yeah, and part of my vision is for it. It's very creator driven. So I mean, we're bringing on creators that have ideas they're excited about. A lot of what, I mean, I've been brewing this idea for like 3 years or more, and frustrated with the pitching process. Like you go to the hall, you meet this room of execs who you don't even know why they're the ones picking what shows get made.
Yeah.
Usually, the first people that you meet with, you go to pitch a show, is this weird sort of like diversity panel of 20-year-olds that have their main focus in life is how cool the shoes they own and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just like, why, like, this is not the audience, and they don't even possibly don't even like kids, if let alone have kids. Anyway, and when you pitch your stuff, you put your heart and soul into it. You have whole stories written out. You have a lot of art, all this cool art, and this stuff just collects dust. And I just thought, we have to go through these studios to get this stuff made. And what if I could just pitch it straight to families? Just like, here, do you guys like this one? You like it? Subscribe to it, and we'll keep it going. Like that kind of thing. And to me, like, this book is kind of, in some ways, we're pitching directly to the audience that's going to consume it. And I feel like, taking out all that unnecessary, because it's become so expensive and complicated, and there are great things that come out of Hollywood. There's also a lot of not great things, and and I love how it allows artists to kind of do their dream projects and the things they're really passionate about, because it's a low risk. I mean, we're pumping out this book of awesome fun. We're packing it with, and every artist that we bring on, I want you to think of, like, if you flipped a page in a book and found this thing, like whatever it is, like, you'd be so excited. Like, what is it? Like, my buddy who is an amazing, Vance Kovacs, this amazing Weta artist. He does like World of Warcraft. He did stuff on Narnia. He does like Guardians of the Galaxy. He's just amazing, artist. And he got this glow in his eye. And he goes, he has this idea for this board game where, like, you're these warriors that go to this battle, and he has the whole way it's going to be set up, and it's just, you open the book and suddenly the whole thing's a board game. You cut out the pieces and he has this whole epic game that you play. So like things like that where artists are kind of and because a lot of kids entertainment feels like somebody goes, okay, this is for kids, let's put on our kid voice and do kind of like kid stuff. And I
Yeah.
think what I like about a lot of our content is, kind of following to me, some of my heroes in kids entertainment are like Roald Dahl, even like C.S. Lewis with his books. Like there's a theory there of like not writing down to children, but like knowing that kids want to grow up, they want to consume things, they're curious and fascinated, and they don't always know everything. They don't have to know everything or get every joke, but they, kind of just giving them something to reach for rather than kind of talking down to them and trying to speak only the words they understand. And I think part of that is that the creator genuinely loves what they're making. They're not, they wish they were making this other thing, but they're making kids stuff right now. Like that to me, I want creators that want to make this stuff. Like they love this genre, what they have. It's their dream project. So we've got a lot of great stuff coming down the pike that we've got, and stuff that we've got already in the first book. And I'm excited about the kind of how energized a lot of creators are that we've brought on.
Do you have artists and people fighting over the first page? Like,
I probably get it because I came up with the idea.
Yeah. It's such a cool idea. I wish I was a kid. I wish I had kids because then, So yeah, just quickly, is it going to be like just US based or worldwide based? Like where's it going to go? Like distribution and all that.
Oh, I mean, right now unless we find some kind of distribution deal, or if we get someone who wants to publish it in Australia, we'd make those deals. Yeah. So off the bat, if you want to get it in Australia, you have to pay that insane shipping.
Yeah, shipping. It's just all about shipping. Yeah.
It's just the shipping is the problem. So.
Yeah. No, I had to send a few books overseas recently. It was like $14 Australian, so that's like half that of you guys. And that was just to go to New Zealand, and then I sent one to the US, and it was like $40.
It's like 40 to $60 like the time.
Yeah,
it depends on how big it is, but
yeah,
it's crazy.
It's crazy.
On my store, I'm just too lazy to do anything about it because I rarely enough get international orders. But if I do get an international order, I actually end up paying them money. Like the amount of money that it costs in shipping, I haven't offset it. That they get charged, but the amount, So I actually pay them to read my book, but. I'm flattered that somebody from another country likes my book. So.
Yeah, that's funny. Probably another reason why web series are so good, like or online comics and that, because you can read it without having to, all that. But so who are some of the who are some of the names involved with your exploding book?
We got Doug Snaple, Earthworm Jim, Michael J. Nelson from Mystery Science Theater 3000. He's become a good friend of ours, and so he's going to write some stuff. We don't even know yet what he's going to write, but he's on board. Who else? We got Rich Werner. He's the guy that, if you've ever seen Plants vs. Zombies, he basically drew the entire game.
Wow.
He's a great,
great
artist. Yeah, and unfortunately, he was just earning an hourly wage when he did that, so he gets no residual. One of the most successful games ever made. The nicest guy on earth, and he's joining in. He's doing a little zombie stuff with us in this one too. Anything else you can off the top of your head? I mean,
Jack Handy. Jack Handy,
obviously,
from Deep Thoughts with Jack Handy. He's writing something. Our buddy Bill, who he was a director on VeggieTales, but has gone on to do. He's on, I think he's currently on the Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures, and then like the Wing Feather Saga. He's incredible. Like his
really
piece is really charming and fun.
Storyboard. Michael Foster. I don't know if you guys know him.
Oh yeah, Michael Foster.
We were working together on a TV show that shall never be at when we were both working at Daily Wire at Bent Key Adventures, and he's just this very talented, highly recommended follow on Instagram. Michael Foster.
Yeah, he's a fun follow. Yeah, Michael's Tim Moen, who he was the lead character designer on the DuckTales reboot, amongst and some other Disney shows, and we got some cool people.
Yeah, a lot of industry people. Frank Fleming. I don't know if you guys know Frank Fleming, but he's a great following X and a really funny. He was with us at the Babylon Bee, did a lot of writing there, and so yeah, kind of an eclectic group, but a lot of industry guys, comic book guys, concept artists, but these guys, a lot of them they're working on whatever the latest reboot or thing that the streaming services are putting out, and they have their dream project. That, like, these guys are all so talented, and they have such great stuff. But nobody gets to really see unless you go to their Instagram. But and then you get to see snippets, and so I'm excited to give all these guys an opportunity. And my hope really is if that concept excites you as a consumer of content, you're not just buying a book with what we're doing. We're really trying to start a independent leaning towards the creator, kind of a creator owned company where we're just the creators in the same way a lot of things are getting kind of shaken up. The media, they're calling it legacy media. There's independent journalists now, and people know if you don't trust mainstream media, you go to these journalists online and stuff like that. And there's different, even like Eric's talking about, there's like film criticism and stuff. Like I go to Critical Drinker for my film reviews, stuff like that. So but there are still some things, like I think children's publishing and children's TV, like children's entertainment, is still very legacy. It's still very much the way things have always been done. It's so bloated and like complicated, and I really think it's time to figure out, and it's because there's a lot that goes into those products. But to figure out, like, how do we do that trimmed down, creator owned version of that, where the audience is just getting stuff directly from these creators, and you're not having to hunt them out one at a time. Like, you get it as it's like the Avengers of great independent stuff for kids, family friendly, all that stuff. So yeah, the idea really excites me, and I hope if you're excited by it, I hope you catch the vision and join on the Kickstarter, because it's a long road to it's like a long game what we're trying to do. But I mean, I believe in it, and I've been fantasizing it for about a long time. So I'm really excited that Eric, when I told him about it, liked the idea and got on board with me, and we've just been cranking out content since we came up with the idea.
I feel confident in saying that any kid that gets this book's going to love it. Like, there's no, like, I can't imagine a kid getting something this exciting and fun and different and being like, like, or whatever. Like, I mean, I know that it's like, we're entering a landscape where the competition is with, there's TikTok, there's video games, there's all of these like distractions or whatever. But any kid who just loves stories or characters and like just or creativity, it's like there's no doubt in my mind that this isn't going to be something that they're going to not only devour but like cherish or like hang on to. Or like, we keep talking about how it's like Ethan's putting it, like, where because there's we want this to be like a legacy of their creativity as they put them on the shelves and as they write their own stories, that they can look back at it and be like, oh yeah, and I came up with that, or oh yeah, like that. Like, I think it's just going to be such a cool, unique thing for kids to not just consume, but also be a part of. So yeah, I just think we got something really cool going on, and hopefully kids agree, and I think they will.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, definitely. I think that there's nothing out there like that at the moment. Just hearing you, like, I've been on the Kickstarter page and hearing you guys talk about it, I can't, obviously I'm not a kid myself, but in terms of, having something similar on the market, I don't think there is. And I think that's a really good thing to have, to if you guys could bring this out and it's a success. Do you know what I mean? Like, it could lead to you publishing hundreds and hundreds of these volumes, hopefully. That's what we pray for anyway.
Yeah, the hope is for it to really be kind of a seed to a whole, tangle of weeds that just takes over the world. But but I think that the tough thing right now is I think we really need people that get it. That one thing you learn when you're a creator is that, like, when you finally have your first hit, most people don't actually care about most of whatever else you've made. Like, don't care. There's a very special group of people that like follow the creator to whatever else they make. And so I'm kind of like basing the kickoff of this, the people we need the most are those people that kind of get that concept of following the creator. my hope
Yeah.
is that the group of creators we put together each has enough of those very special people to just to launch the book, because I really do believe, like Eric said, the moment that it's printed and it's out there and it's in kids' hands, I think parents will get it then when they
Yeah.
see the
Yeah.
kids reacting to it, because I think even the concept is hard to pitch to some parents.
Yeah.
But I think so. We have to get there. We have to get it into the kids' hands, and it takes to me a very elite, cool, special group of parents who kind of, they don't just kind of consume whatever is coming down the pike in the mainstream, like whatever
Yeah.
Netflix says is in the top 10 that day. Like, there are people that seek out, like, hey, I heard this guy is really cool and he's a weirdo and he actually makes really good kids content. Let's get the book. Like this, you actually buy stuff from a Kickstarter or rather than just everything off of the top 10 on Amazon or whatever. So I think people that have that sort of, they're really seeking stuff out for their kids and kind of get that idea. We're really dependent on you, so I'm very thankful for those types of people, and I assume those type of people listen to podcasts like this one. So
Yeah. Well,
we appreciate you.
Thank you. We are very indie author supportive on here, so we get a lot of the people that like just don't get heard, and they've got some of the best stories you'll ever hear. Just there's brilliant writers, and they don't get the whole grand marketing of a big publisher, and that's why I really appreciate what you're doing, because I know it's going to be authentic. It's going to be genuine. You're not going to have someone coming in and saying, "Give it a sombrero," It's gonna. It's like
It kind of reminds me of, like, I've been a bit into, even though it's filthy as heck, Kill Tony. I'm fascinated by what it's done. It's revolutionized comedy in a way that, like, comedy is this industry, and it's taken a lot of power away from that industry. And what fascinates me the most about it is there are some comics that are hilarious on there, and but there's a variety but most of them probably never would have been mainstream comics. They never would have been.
Yeah.
Huge acts, the Phil theaters.
Yeah.
But they've brought together kind of the scene of indie comics all come together and kind of created their own brand. And in some ways, I kind of see that, like, maybe all the stuff that we put in our book doesn't feel like the latest polished Marvel book or the latest Netflix reboot. Like, it's kind of more raw and gritty, and like it's honest. So it's like just really honest work from people that you can just tell they had a great time doing it, and kind of the strength is in those numbers and also in that ink and that passion. Because right now everybody who's working on this is doing it for free, like until we're making money on it.
Yeah,
and I think it kind of makes it special. Like everything you're gonna get in this book was made out of like the love of it. And I've been contacted by creators who are just like excited by the idea. Like, it just sounds fun. Like they've been wanting to make a thing, and this has given them an excuse to make the thing they've been excited to make, but they keep having to do their real work,
Have you put a cap on how many creators can be involved? Like, are you still getting people interested? Is it like snowballing, or are you trying to contain it to a certain amount?
I mean, right now our whole plan is to, we're going to make 3 for sure. I mean, I think Kickstarter is very close to funding. So when it funds, that guarantees that we're going to make for the first 3 volumes. Well, that's a lot of content. I mean, I want the books to be at least 100 pages. So my idea is it's an 8.5 by 11 with at least 100 pages on thick, bright white paper that feels like that you can draw and write on if you want to, but it's also full color. So it'll feel like a real hybrid between a sort of a coloring book magazine and a book. It's just kind of like got kind of qualities of all those things. But yeah, and because we want to be a subscription, and we really want is to get to where we're making enough money where it's monthly.
Yeah.
We're going to need so much content that right now I'm welcoming in anybody who's good. I'm putting them on a list, and so, and I want to announce them if they're good, and we're going to get them in, and we know we're going to get them in. I want to announce them during the Kickstarter so that whoever follows them knows that if they support this book, they're supporting this guy that they like. So right now it's kind of like a big Care Bear stare of independent creators. So like the first book's like packed right now stuff.
Yeah, so it's like I feel like individual books will have a cap of how many people get in it, obviously, but it's like, because we hope to make a bunch of these, it's like I think we also want while there's going to be like ongoing stories and like, oh, that guy's back and that guy's back, I also, it's like, you want to like, oh, what's this? Like, who is this? Like, this is completely different. Where in book 3, you just get some completely different style, completely different voice. And so it's like, I think constantly having new creators pop up every once in a while is also a goal. So it's like, trying to gather as many as we can will help with that. So
yeah, and I really want to integrate into the way that we do this. Each creator will be featured with their work. We'll do like a picture and maybe like kind of like a mini, kind of like your icebreakers, do kind of like funny questions and stuff and get to know who they are. I want kids to be really familiar with like recognize the creators and how kind of, because I think that's the thing is we're raised in the kids entertainment we were raised with, everybody's faceless and nameless, and that's kind of led to the issues that we have with a lot of kids entertainment. You don't even know who these people are and what what are their motivations and who are they and why, and why are these cartoon characters saying this weird stuff? But I think that I think parents like to know, and especially this day and age of people like podcasts and things where a person, their personality, you find people you trust just by listening to them and getting to know them. My vision is for this company to have a similar thing with the creators. You know who they are, you've gotten to know them. I would love to have a podcast where you hear the creators, various groups of them get together and talk about whatever's going on in entertainment or whatever issues are going on, something the parents can enjoy. And then go, oh, these are the kids. These are the guys that are entertaining my kids, and I like listening to whatever the latest podcast is and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Do you have any questions, Ryan?
No, I'm good. I'm just in awe of it. I'm thinking about pledging for myself. I know I'm not a kid, but it just the concept of everything sounds amazing, and I just really want to have it from, as you say, from my bookshelf and just to support such a good cause, and hopefully you can get more than just the 3 volumes.
Yeah. Hey, buy a box of them and just hand them out at the local orphanage.
Exactly.
But I will say, because the way that I came up with this idea is I literally, which I know a lot of creators have done this. I wrote down all the things that I ultimately would love to accomplish with my art, and I wrote theme park, book publishing company, movies. I wrote all these things, and I backtracked from each one. Like, to get to that, what do you do now? Books is like right at the very bottom is kind of like book. It's book. You make a book. That book can become a movie, it can become a video game, it can become all those things, and it can eventually become a ride at a theme park. So I thought, but the thing is, like, everybody makes a book. Like, how do I make a book that feels like it could become that? And that was where this kind of. But the other thing I thought is like I don't want to only make kids content forever. Like, I have a lot of ideas that aren't just kids content. But the thing is, like, about if your audience is a very dedicated group of kids, and you're in their lives, like, I think having the vision to create content that grows with them. I think that as this company matures and our audience matures, we'll get to expand into other brands and imprints and things where we can make much broader content. And so that idea excites me as well. And I think it's just the long game. So I think I don't know, if you're in it for the long game, you could support it.
Definitely,
because you're still supporting all the creators that are on it, and I think that's the other thing, is just having kind of vision. And I think it's going to be a fun book to look through for anybody. It's going to have so much to, like, I think there's a 32-page sample on the Kickstarter. If you check that out, I think you'll get an idea of just kind of how much fun it is to flip through. There's a lot going on in there.
Now, will you do like a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory thing where one of the books will actually explode?
Oh, that'd be sweet.
But
that's a good idea.
Maybe make it kid friendly with confetti, but like
like it just one has like a stick of dynamite golden ticket or something.
Yeah,
that could be cool. That's a great idea, actually.
Take it for free.
That's a great idea. Put dynamite in a book.
Well, I mean, maybe like a bookmark that looks like dynamite.
Right. Yeah. Like one could do.
It would be great if it like some kind of like fake smoke went like. Is there a way to do that? It could be a fold out with like a explosion cut out.
Smoke.
Boom.
That's cool.
Cool. Well, I think Ryan probably wants to ask you some comic book questions because he's a comic book nerd.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, in reading Axe Cop and finding out all about it, you creating it with your brother, and obviously, what were some of your inspirational comics growing up? If you were a comic book reader, both of you, when you were growing up, is there any main? I mean, for me, it was mainly Spider-Man and Batman, and it still is. But I read anything and everything. I read from Dark Horse, from Image, from everywhere. But what were some of the main comics, Ethan and Eric, that sort of got you inspired in what you're doing today?
So I was a huge Ninja Turtles fan,
Yep.
and what Ninja Turtles did for me is at first it was me going to 7-Eleven to pick up the Archie comics, and then once I had all
Yep.
those, I was missing back issues. That's what got me to go into a comic book store, and then looking for back issues, they had mixed together the Mirage independent comics with the Archie. If you know, the Mirage are the darker adult black and white,
Yep.
and then the thing that happened with Ninja Turtles is when Eastman and Laird became too famous and busy to draw the comics, they just hired all their awesome indie artist buddies to create all these one shot comics. So it was like this deep dive. If you go into those Mirage comics, you're getting this amazing, almost like this book might explode of Ninja Turtle comics of all these different artists and different styles, different writing styles. Some are humor, some are very serious, some are just super violent for the heck of being violent, and it's just a great. So that was like my window into indie comics and a love for black and white comics, which led to
Yep.
in high school I was really into SLG comics. I wasn't a goth per se, but I loved John O'Hanlon Soul Maniac and everything Jonan Vasquez was doing. What else was like really Too Much Coffee Man,
Hmm.
Sin City, Frank Miller stuff. I was just like,
Yeah.
I just Simon Bisley stuff. I loved. He had this like him and like Raphael and Casey Jones are just shooting everybody. What's that? What's that called? It's like a bullet. It's just like a John Woo comic of Raphael and Casey Jones just shooting bad guys like for like 3 books, just bloodiest.
Oh wow.
But so yeah, those are my biggest influences. And yeah, I was really into indie. I was really into, I guess, Cyber Frog randomly. I really remember back when it was like new. Hall of Heroes comics. I really like those. I don't even know if people know about them. There's like one called the Snowman or Snowman or something like that. And but yeah, Tales from the Bog. I don't even know if people. I kind of purposely sought out these indie black and white comics. That's what I wanted to be. I was really excited by that idea. But yeah, I read some mainstream, but not a lot. I mean, and then the Ninja Turtles comics are probably that's what I collected. I collected turtle comics, but I wasn't a big collector outside of that.
Have you read The Last Ronin, the last series they did?
No, I haven't.
That's
Yeah.
brilliant. It's only one turtle left in the future, and
Oh,
he's
that's cool.
he's got all the weapons, and it's super dark.
I got to do a cover for one of the
Yeah,
is it Boom Studios? No, who does
Yeah.
Turtles?
IDW does Ninja Turtles.
IDW. I get them confused. Yeah, IDW. I did. But yeah, it's kind of a bucket list thing. I got to do a cover for them.
oh, it's awesome.
And they ended up using it when they created the Ninja Turtles comics app,
Hmm.
which was like
Yeah.
the official
Yeah.
comics app. My cover was the image they used.
Oh wow,
Very flattered. Yeah.
that's awesome.
Were you a comic book nerd, Eric?
I would say I was a casual
No.
comic fan. Like I loved X-Men when I was a kid, and just sort of that Marvel stuff, like especially when the cartoons were Saturday morning and stuff like that. And then in high school,
Yeah.
I feel like I became like a snooty, like I would read like Watchmen and or what like sort of like the important graphic novels and stuff like that.
Yes.
But then it's like I feel like post high school, not much. Like I would read I loved what's his name? Michael Kupperman, who's like he's more like he's like a humorist who does like
Yeah.
Snake and Bacon, and what's his other book? I don't know, but he's just like I like this humor. Like I just thought it was really funny, but yeah, not so much these days. But I definitely still enjoy perusing the comic book store. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I also love the Tick. I gotta say, I really love the Tick, and that was when people started comparing Axe Cop to the Tick. I was very flattered and happy.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen. It's been fun.
Thanks for having us.
Why don't
Yeah,
you
thank you.
give the Kickstarter one last plug? tell our listeners and viewers everything that you want them to know.
Okay. I'll let Eric do that. He's good at it.
I want you to go to thisbookmightexplode.com/Kickstarter. Check it. Watch the video on there. That video, I think we pitch it pretty well, decently. And then if you have kids and especially if you have creative kids, I think you should give our book a shot, because I think it's going to be something that they really love and that they'll remember forever. That's my pitch.
And Ethan says ditto.
Ditto.
Awesome. All Ethan and Eric's links will be down in the show notes, guys. So thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com if you want to reach out. Check out our sponsors, Rebecca Cassells, Martin Kearns, and grab their books. And yeah, we'll catch you next time.
See you next time.
Ready.
In 1932, the Australian Army declared war on 20,000 emus and lost. It's a part of Australian history that not many know about. Maybe that's because history is written by those who win. So if you want to hear the full story of the Great Emu War of 1932, then check out my book, Letters from the Emu War. Read letters, newspaper articles, and journal entries. With every turn of the page, you will gain a deeper understanding of the life and times of emus at war. So head on over to jabryden.com and grab a signed copy today.